Hello, I'm going to try and make some puppets today, and I haven't made these for a while. The last time I made them I was 10. This is what I came up with. So I'm going to try and recreate this lovely puppet slightly differently, in that I'm probably going to try and get a realistic skin tone rather than lobster. I'm going to start making papier mache. There's a couple of different ways to make it. But the paper that you use, you can either use scrap paper, you can use newspaper, you can use old things that have come through your door that you don't want, or magazines. And there's two different ways, probably more, but two different ways I'm going to use to make papier mache, or paper mache if you want to call it that. You're also going to need for these puppets some toilet rolls, probably some gloves if you want them. I've got quite a lot of gloves for some reason here. And some extra cardboard if you've got any extra cardboard. And you're going to need some water. You're going to need at least one container. I think I am going to, for this part, use some gloves because it can get quite messy. But you don't have to. It's an optional extra. If you don't have them, then don't use them. So, two different sorts of papier mache. The first sort is the flour and water one. So I'm going to add some flour, about half flour to half water, and add some salt just because it might make it easier so it doesn't rot. It's sort of antibacterial. So if you've got any flour, I'm going to use all of this flour. There's not that much left. So, half flour, half water. Here's the flour, here's the water. Going to mix it in. Not too much. Add the salt. And mix that until it's a paste. You can use wallpaper paste, but make sure it's non-toxic, because if you're going to use this and anyone's going to possibly lick it by mistake, then really you don't want it to be. So that's probably not enough water. So I'm going to add a little bit more water and mix it into a paste here. I'll get back to you. Lumpy, but basically keep adding the water until it's a sort of pasty. Try to not make it lumpy, a sort of pasty mix. Now I'm also going to add one here that's glue. I think I'm leaking a bit here, but I'm going to make one with a PVA glue and water, and we're going to make two puppets, one with each, or if I run out maybe I'll just use both, just to see which is good. PVA glue, again, not that much. I ordered some more, but it's probably not enough. Maybe flour and water will be better. I've got a bit of dirt in here. This was in a cupboard for a long time, so there's a lot of... There was a spider. I did empty the spider out before I used it. So, PVA glue. It's not that much in here, so I'm probably going to use the other one more. A little bit of water to make it... Just mix it up. It's just to make it go further, really. Get the paper and tear it into, doesn't matter what sorts of strips, tear it into strips and just stick it into the paste mixture, whichever paste that you use. So just, it doesn't matter whether they're long, it doesn't matter what the strips are like, just any strip, just lumps even. Just however it tears, tear them up, and you can do the circulars or advertising material or magazines, anything. Just stick them in, about that length at the most really, stick them in. Got bits of paper here, just mix them all up, make sure they're all coated. Just stick the paper in as you need it, really. And the same thing with this, but I haven't really done it here. Anyway, what next? These toilet rolls, and I'm going to use one of each. Now, what I have noticed with these toilet rolls that I have here is they are bigger than the one I had when I was 10. So that's interesting. Toilet rolls, slightly, just measure it so you can see. That's not really measuring it, but see, the toilet roll I had when I was 10 that I made it, they're bigger. Both of them are bigger. It shouldn't really be a problem. And I'm also probably going to make a much bigger nose. I obviously was into tiny little noses when I was 10. Going to make it a bit bigger to balance it up and to make the mouth a bit lower. But don't worry about it. Whatever comes out, that's good. I'm going to show you how to make the hair in another video as well. Today, I'm just going to make the puppet head. That's all, the puppet head. And then we'll finish it off later on. Alright, so, got one of these. Now, some of the paper you're going to need to crush up. Well, scrumple up really, so that you've got an inside. Scrumple, 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 so that it's not hollow, so that if you accidentally crush it, it's not going to get completely crushed. So, scrumple some paper inside. Doesn't matter how much you use, what paper you use, as long as it's clean paper and it's not anything important. Don't put the manuscript of the novel that you've written and there's only one manuscript of it and there's no copies. That would be a mistake, unless you want future generations to find your secret manuscript. Now, don't fill it all the way, because what you're going to do here is make a little neck. And the neck is important. The neck, you need different cardboard. So, board can be cereal boxes, any sort of biscuit boxes, cookie boxes, any sort of boxes. But this fairly thin cardboard. You need scissors. So, what you need to do is guess how long your finger is. That long. Yeah, and or measure it if you feel the need. Get a piece of cardboard. I forgot the scissors, so make sure you've got scissors so that you've got... So, how long is my finger? How long is a piece of string? Well, it's just about that long. So, I'm going to go for... that long, because some of it's going to be inside the puppet, so it's not going to be, you have to, yeah, so just roughly, it's fine. That, put the glue on that side all the way up. Difficult to do with one hand. So you got the glue, stick some glue all along there, stick it there, hold it there, make sure that you have got it. It doesn't really need to be completely straight. Might need to trim it a little bit though. Now, it has to stick, so wait until it's dry before you do anything else with it now. That tube into the other big tube, which I've used here. Just in the corner where my finger is there, and put another paper clip maybe. Try and leave it till it's dry, and you can carry on then. So I've made two here. One of them's got a slightly longer neck than the other one. Doesn't really matter at the moment, but leave it to dry, and then you can go on to the next stage. Now you've got the basic shape, you can start adding the papier mache. So cover the neck as well and make sure to put both ways. So you're doing it downwards that way and then across here and joining it all up. Put a bit more paper inside so you can cover it that way. So get the bits and stick them on, all covered in the paste, and just keep going. If you need to make more roundness on any part of it, then just add bits to bulk it up a little bit so it's not so narrow. Ha! One thing I forgot to add was the nose. So make the nose and then you can add it onto it before you do anything. I've made a little hole so that I can add the nose, so I can stick the nose there, more or less where the nose is. Cover it in papier mache and then cover it in papier mache. Important. Now you can make the nose as big or as small as you want. You can make it pointy, you can make it with papier mache if you want. So I would say, I mean, you can build it up with the nose, but just how big is the nose? So cut that, make that, bend that. Then how do you want the nose to look? That's probably, I'm going to make it bigger than I did before. If you stick some paper inside, then it stops it collapsing in on itself. So do that, and then you can mould it and keep going. It's very grey at the moment, but it'll look better. Before I go any further, I need to show you how to put a little thing here so that the clothes don't fall off. So I'm just going to put that there for a second. Now get a piece of newspaper, whoops, a bigger piece of newspaper than that, and sort of roll it up like this. Roll it up. And then place it around the bottom of the puppet, about there. So you've got a little ridge there, and then you've got a sort of neck on the neck that you can put the clothes on and they won't slip off the puppet. Put the seam there, you'll see how it works. Make sure you cover that with papier mache too. So you can build it up a little bit more. You can mould it with your hands. It's a bit like clay now once it's like that. They look a little bit weird. I think I'm going to add ears. I don't think that'll make them look less weird, but they'll look weird with ears. So I'm just going to put this in that and then cover it with everything. Stick it on the side about where the ears would be. And just build it up. I'll show you what it looks like when I finish because I can't use the camera and do this at the same time. Built up the ears there, covered them with some more. As I say, he still looks weird, but got ears. It is 24 hours later and I have some puppets with ears now, so I'm going to have to start, well, they're just about dry. I have noticed that the one that was made with flour is a little bit crusty. This one is I've got a little bit of flour on this one too. Basically, I ran out of glue, but I've got some more glue, so I can start painting them. Various different sorts of poster paint. I'm going to mix them up, try and make some nice colours for skin. Start doing it now. Mix the paints. So just whatever colour you're happy with. Cover it. I've just sketched a bit of a face on them. You can see the paint's coming off, but that's all right because I can do another coat. It's oh, it was still wet when I drew them on, so I need to do it again, but that's okay because I need to paint the faces. I've gone with the sort of Egyptian sort of look. It's not quite ready yet, but it's just what it told me that it wanted. I'm going a little bit more natural with this one. It's not going to need as much paint. It's not quite as lumpy as the other one. And I think it might not need as much work. It's 2 days later. I found that if they crack a bit, you can put some more glue on them, fill in the gaps, it's fine. I've been working a little bit more on them. I think I need different paint. What I did do, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, I should have contoured them. So I'm going to make another one, but I'm going to make more sort of eye sockets and just try and see what I can do better. I'm sure I can do better. As you can see with this, I noticed that the nose wasn't even, so I put some more paper on it and now I need to paint it again. So I think these are looking quite good. And I am going to still carry on with those and put the costumes on. But I'm going to make another one as well. So you can see I'm trying to build up some eye sockets there and ears. It might be worth noting that I'm not actually using any body as a model. This is mostly from memory, so it's not going to be perfect. But it might look all right. I think that probably is the most successful, and that's the first one I did. I'm going to try making some clothes for these puppets now, and my mum is going to help me very kindly. I'm going to do some, she's going to do some. We'll have done these in no time at all. Paper, I'm going to make a very basic pattern by tracing around it. Then I could just get any sort of material. Fabric. This big bag of fabric might have something. Don't know whether any of them are big enough, but we can look. We've also got fur. We could use the fur as the hair, or you could use wool, or you could use actual hair if you've got it. A wig, nylon or real. Ooh, we can make Tiger King. Put it on the material, cut it around the material, Then we'll see what happens after we've cut around all the bits of material. Gonna find some more material too. Up for this? Oh, good. Very vocal, my mum.
I'm a woman of few words.
I'm hand stitching this, but obviously if you've got a sewing machine and you know what you're doing, sew it with that. Make sure you don't sew up the little bit there. Obviously it's a sleeve, it needs a hole, and make sure that your finger fits into it. To the middle, you can either just stick that in and sew it all up on the other side and then flip it over, or if you want to make it adjustable, you can make a little slit and put some Velcro or a popper there. So 2 choices. I mean, if you want to just carry on and then sew that up, then that should be all right, because it should be reversible, and then you can just, that'll work. It's that way, so then you can sew it right round and make sure it's fixed in there on top of this ridge. This way, then it should, if it's working properly, hold when you switch it inside out. I haven't quite finished it yet, but there you can see. Oops. Anyway, I haven't put it all completely, but it sort of stays there. Cut a little mitten of felt. Check to see how big it is on your finger, and then another bit there. So you've made a little glove. That's basically how you do it. Even though that's not perfect, it's more or less right. Now I've got to put some hair on it, so make sure you put hair on it, unless you don't want it. They're not really natural colour hairs. Oh, black. Alright, I'm going to make a black wig with wool. Wool around this bit of paper and put some glue all the way up the middle. And then I'm going to cut the bottom when it's dry. And I'm going to have a bit of some hair, hopefully. Bit there. I'll carry on cutting. So you've got some hair. A little wiggy hair. You can stick it on. Stick it on the top, and then you've got some hair. Make it long, make it short, make it somewhere in between. So there, you've got some hair. Stick it on the top. Do the hairline where you want. Does look a little bit Frankenstein's monster, but it is, yeah, probably difficult to do one-handed. It looks a bit like hair anyway. So that was my puppets. I hope you like them. I'd like to see some of yours maybe. If you want to tell me where I can find some, if you've made them, let me know in comments whether they worked out well for you. Okay, bye-bye.